Okay, well we're now doing the ricotta cheese filling, ricotta cheese and sultanas. So we've got 375 grams of ricotta cheese, which have just been upended into the mixing bowl, and over to you, Olga.
I use ricotta cheese rather than cottage cheese because ricotta cheese is juicier. Cottage cheese can sometimes be a bit acidy and a bit too dry. So with 375 grams we add an egg to that for binding. We put a handful of sultanas, and 1 or 2 packets of vanilla sugar according to taste. In this case I'm going to put 2 packets of vanilla sugar. It's just a small tiny little packet.
Alright, so this vanilla sugar.
Yes. And I'm now going to grate lemon rind, I think.
Just right on. Oh, even on two.
Yeah, but there's... And the lemon rind is always nice. It gives it a lovely tangy sort of a flavour. So the ricotta filling is really very simple. There's not much to it at all. And of course, once you've made all these mixtures, you taste and just see whether it needs more sugar or whatever. Now, who'd like to taste this? You are, Scarlett. You have a little taste. See what you think. You be the chief taster. Yummy? Nice? You think it needs a bit more sugar? Just a little bit? Okay, we'll just put a tiny bit.
Really sweet.
Just a tiny bit, look.
You love sugar, don't you?
Plenty. You like your nanny. She loves sugar too.
I thought it was sweet enough.
Alright. The pastry's not that sweet, you see. Alright, so that's all the fillings. And now, because the pastry has not risen sufficiently, we have to wait a little bit.
Let's have a look how it's going.
Yes.
We've now been about half an hour, and it's risen a bit more, but let's...
A little bit longer.
Okay, well we've now got a situation where the yeast pastry has risen sufficiently, and we're going to continue with making the cheese roll.
So yeast cooking needs to rise 3 times. The first time the yeast rises is in that cup mixture, the second time is in the bowl, and the third time is when we've prepared the rolls and put them on the baking trays, and then it has to rise again. So each one of these pastry rolls, I use about 3/4 pound of pastry, because that way you'll have a uniform size of all your fillings. So flour your board first.
And that's about 350 grams for those of you in metric.
Oh.
So
And weigh out. It's just about spot on. So put that aside so you have what to do you're actually kneading. Just sort of knead it for a while like that. And then spread it out into an oval. This part is sort of quite elastic and jumps back, but you have to persevere with it. Try not to put too much flour on the board because then it interferes with the quality of the pastry, but if you need to, well, you have to.
So the flour's just to stop it from sticking to the wood.
Spread it a bit more at this stage. Roll it, I would say, to about 1/4 inch thickness.
5 or 6 millimetres.
Well, whatever it works out to. Don't forget I'm out of last century. Okay, so I think that'll do. Now we put our pastry in, give it another mix to make sure it's all distributed properly. And spread it almost, especially the top bit, don't spread it right there, but here just spread it out. At the end nearest to you, try to spread it as close to the edge because that's the part that'll be right on the inside.
Yeah.
So then you just start rolling it into a jam roll sort of thing. And you can see why this part here that I haven't put it right to the edge, because that's got to make sort of an overlap so it doesn't ooze out, and you can stretch it like that. Then that part becomes
The base.
the underneath, and the ends you push in and make it into a little,
Like a parcel.
so it doesn't ooze out.
Yeah.
This is the most difficult one to put in the baking dish because it's so sort of
Sloppy.
yeah. But you put that in the baking dish and try to shape it in there.
You'd already sprayed that with some canola oil, but you could grease it with butter
It's
just
been
as well.
greased, yes. And now with the beaten egg you just brush the top. Make sure the ends and sides are brushed.
And that's just beaten egg, there's nothing else in that mixture.
And this is when the third proving will come. So you put this aside now until it
Some of the go puffy.
until it goes again. And in the meantime you can start doing your nut rolls. Exactly the same procedure, only this time it's got the nuts in it.
Okay, so after about 20 minutes we have pulled the cheese pastry out and it's looking set. Olga, do you want to just talk about how you can tell from tapping how well it's done?
Possibly it takes 20 minutes to half an hour, and the temperature is 180 degrees Celsius, is it?
Yep.
Yeah. And cook it for that or bake it for that time until it's golden brown, and then if you want to be sure, just give it a tap like that and it should sound hollow. You take it out of the oven and it's ready.
Okay, and so that cheese roll had its third rising.
If you have too many of the nut rolls or whatever filling you have, and you can wrap them in foil once they're cold and put them in the freezer and just use as other normally frozen foods. That's if you like the first
So
one.
thanks very much and stay tuned for further Slovak recipes from Olga.